Hey guys. All right, so Jen here, of course. I am going to start working my way through the suggested ideas for the things that you guys wanted to learn more about when it comes to running an online business. So this was the very first comment that someone made. They asked for a training on how to create a viable, sustainable legal business from the kernel of an idea. I don't think she meant an actual legal business as in like a lawyer business. I hope that's not what she meant. If she did, that's fine. I don't know anything about legal businesses as far as like being a lawyer goes. But I will give you what I do know about creating a viable, sustainable business from a kernel of an idea. So I think what she meant by legal business is that she's not doing something illegal, but she's doing something that's legal that she's allowed to do. I'm assuming that's what she meant when she commented on that. So anyway, if anyone has questions, let me know. Put them in the comments. I have another live stream in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep this short as possible, and likely we'll be doing several follow-ups because this is kind of a big topic to talk about on one live stream. But I just wanted to, like I said, start going through the list of the trainings that you guys asked for, because I think that the stuff you asked for is really good, and it's definitely things that you're going to want to know about if you do plan on starting your own online business. So what better one to start with than this one right here, which is what happens if you have the kernel of an idea for something? How do you turn that into a viable, sustainable business? So first of all, when it comes to starting a business, there's always one really simple thing you can start with, and that is a problem that needs to be solved. So people will turn to a business most of the time. Hang on a second. I need to grab my water glass so my dog doesn't try to drink out of it because he just decided to come in here. He'll probably try to drink out of it anyway. You want to think about what problem can you solve. So I'm not sure what the kernel of an idea is that you had, and if you want to share in the comments when you watch this video, let me know. And I'm happy to sort of brainstorm ideas and stuff with you. But when it comes to starting an online business, the number one way that people start an online business is that they come up with a solution to a problem that their target audience has. So you guys hear this? My dog is. Let me see if I can. I don't know why he thinks that he needs to scrape the floor before he sits on it. Apparently, the carpet's not fluffy enough for him. Anyway. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted by him. Anyway, so when it comes to starting an online business, 99% of the time, it's something to do with solving a problem for somebody, giving them an easier way to do something that they're already doing, solving like a frustration that they have, or filling a gap of some kind. So this isn't true of every business, obviously, but many, many online businesses, this is the whole, idea behind them, is that they have a mission to help solve a problem for a specific type of person or a specific target audience, and then you kind of go from there. So very, very starting point for you, for anybody who wants to start an online business, is to ask yourself, what are you really good at, first of all? So what are the things you're really good at that come naturally to you, that you could talk about for hours and hours and hours and never get bored, never get sick of it? What are problems you've had in your own life that you solved that you have a really good or unique or brilliant solution for? Think about stuff like that. So what problems can you help people solve? What skills do you have that will be valuable to somebody else? These are the things that are going to be the starting point of a really good online business. So most online businesses are service businesses, meaning that a person behind the scenes, usually a coach or something like that, is providing a service. You don't have to have a service business at all, not at all. But having a service business, at least in the beginning, is a really easy way to start making money quickly. So the very first product that I ever created was an ebook. It was called Button Chair. You can still get it on Amazon right now. But originally I created it as a PDF for my blog, and I used to sell it on my blog. It launched in March of 2010. And that was about 2 years into my official journey of starting my online business. Well, 3 years technically, if you count the year I did freelance writing. So I started my online business in 2007 as a freelance writer, copywriter, etc. And then I started to do my blog in 2008, started to write about writing, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to help writers. And so I thought, okay, well, how can I do this? And at the time, there was a book that I thought I needed to write, which was Button Chair. It was all about how to be productive, how to get your ass in a chair and get your word count, all of that stuff. So I wrote that book. Now, easily, I could have turned that book into a program, into a coaching offer, into a workshop, into a lot of different things. So the other really easy thing to do is think about something you already have created. So maybe you've got a book out there or a workshop that you're teaching. How can you take this thing that you already have and expand it into something else? So, like I said, I could have taken that book and I could have done a button chair coaching program where I actually helped people get their ass in a chair and get their writing done. So we would have dealt with productivity stuff and overcoming, resistance and procrastination and how to actually get your word count done and all of that stuff. So that's a potential thing I could have done from that one little kernel of an idea, which was, writing a book about productivity. So that was a really good starting point. My first service that I offered was in October of, I think 2010, pretty sure, is when I started coaching writers. So I basically had learned about story structure the year before. It changed everything for me, and I'd spent the entire year and a half studying story structure. And then at the end of the year, NaNoWriMo happens in November every year, and I actually decided, you know what, for the first time, I'm going to put myself out there. I've never done that before. At the time, I had never done this before, and I said, I'm going to send an email to my list, and I'm going to say to them that I had this idea for a 4-week workshop where they work one-on-one with me, and I help them plan their story before they write it. So this was October. I had no idea if this was going to work or not. I had no idea if people would even want that service, but I just got this intuitive nudge that I should do it. So I put it out there, sent it to my email list, and from there, people actually started signing up. So within 2 days, I sold out all 5 of the spots that I had given myself to say, this is how many spots I'm opening. I could have opened more and made more money, I guess, but at the time, I thought 5 was just the perfect number because it was my very first time coaching anybody, and I didn't want to get overwhelmed and have too many clients, and I really wanted to make sure I gave, really good service. So from there, I developed a workshop that I started to do. So then I started to do a pre-nano workshop every year, and I did it for 7 years in a row and it was different versions each time, but basically same idea, plan your story before you write it during nano. So that really was my little beginning points to where I am now. So now I have a full-time business where now I'm not really coaching writers as much because that was something I let go of at the end of last year so that I could step more into the whole Dream Life or Bust thing and helping people in a bigger way. So I still love working with writers, and a lot of you in here are writers, and it's fantastic. But I just know that there's more that I could do than just helping people write books. And so that's why I stepped away from the whole story coaching thing so that I could help people with something that in my mind, not that it matters more than story coaching, because I think that story coaching in itself is amazing and absolutely needed service in the industry. But for me, I have a value of freedom. That is my absolute core value in life. And I know that a lot of the people who follow me feel that exact same way. And I truly just want to help people to have freedom in their lives, whether it's, just feeling a certain way that makes you feel free, or whether it's actually creating yourself a business so that you can have the freedom. It's really, really important to me that I spend time doing that, and that I help people just do things that matter to them, and that fuel them up with happiness and feeling good and all that stuff, because that really, my mission in life is to change the way people think and to challenge what they believe is possible. So that is what I do through my business, and I've always done that, but now I'm doing it in a much bigger way. So if you're starting out and you've just got this really small idea seed, it can turn into something huge and in a very short amount of time if you're consistent, if you keep at it, if you keep learning and growing. It never hurts to invest in a coach or someone who can teach you more than what you already know, or taking a workshop or something. Obviously for me in the beginning, that was absolutely necessary. I actually took a business workshop in January, or I started it in January of 2012. It was a 6-month workshop, so it actually lasted for 6 months. But it was called Trailblazer, and it was all about how to quit your job and do something you actually love to do. And that was the starting point of that program, was a blog. So this guy started a blog about how he quit his job and having more freedom in his life and all that stuff. That was, what the starting point was. And then he turned that into, having this workshop that he now offers. And it's the core product in his business now, is that he offers people this Trailblazer program, and he helps them to quit their jobs to do something they actually care about and start a business for most of them, since most people in that program are entrepreneurs. So when it comes to coming up with your own business idea, you don't need to have everything figured out right now. So when I first started my business in 2007, I had no clue what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted to do more writing. I wanted to get paid to be a writer. That was really all I knew at the beginning. It was just, that was my little, kernel of an idea. I just want to get paid to be a writer. And so that was my starting point. And then I started to see, what was happening in the writing industry. I was starting to pay attention to the things that my community was paying attention to. So when I started my blog, at the time, this was in 2008, commenting on a blog was like a big deal because there wasn't really too many social places for people to go and talk to each other. So blog commenting was a huge strategy, and tons of people used to comment on blogs. That's not happening as much now, although depends on the blog. But back then there was a ton. So I used the feedback from my community, from the people who commented on my blog posts and who followed me, and all of that. I used that to help me come up with ideas for what could I offer. And now I basically just do everything based on divine downloads. So it's like, I'm never going to offer something unless it comes as a divine download to me, because those are the things I'm most passionate and excited about. Not so much when I just come up with a random idea just because I think it's cool. I mean, sometimes, but for the most part, everything I create now is a divine download. So I get an idea. I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. I need to do that. And then I actually get to work putting it together and putting it out there. So, a really good starting point, like I said, is asking, what problems can I solve? So for me, coaching writers came from solving the problem of people needing to plan their stories before they write them during Nano. Huge gap that I felt like I was filling in our writing industry, because so many writers don't plan and develop their stories before they write them. So they end up with a half-assed story. They end up with 50,000 words they can't use. I could not, the amount of complaints that people had after Nano every year, like, oh, I wrote 50,000 words, but now I have to revise and the story's a mess. It's all over the place. And just the number of people that I talked to who were like, yeah, my Nano story is a mess, or I'm revising my Nano story. And it was like, I just realized that, you know what? Something that I was starting to learn and get really good at was story structure and figuring out how to use craft in my actual stories. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to help other people do this too, because it's something that not only was a challenge for me in the beginning, but then I realized there weren't a lot of people at the time out there helping people do this. See, now there's a lot more writing workshops. You can actually find a ton of workshops on story structure and all of that and story planning. But back in 2010, when I launched this coaching program, there really wasn't a whole lot out there, or if there was, it wasn't anything like super mainstream. So for me, that was the very, early stages of it. And it just grew from there, because now I'm always asking myself, what problems can I solve? How can I help my people? And that's really what a business is all about. It's how can I help my people? So it doesn't always have to be it can be a physical product. So like, for example, I now sell Dream Life or Bust t-shirts. I have an entire t-shirt collection, and this is one of them, obviously. And this, of course, wasn't my first product. I don't recommend a physical product being your first product in your business unless you're already making something. And then in that case, that can be. So like maybe you have an Etsy shop, or, you make something that you could sell online. Like that's totally fine. But if you're not already doing something like that, I don't recommend. Wow, okay, my alarm just went off to tell me that I've got 9 minutes before my next live stream. So I'm going to wrap this up, but like I said, this is a topic that's got a lot of stuff about it, so I feel like we could definitely talk more, but this is a starting point. So if you are wanting to start a business, it's definitely going to be about thinking about the problems that you can solve, the ways you can help people, and especially who are the people you would like to solve problems for or help. So for me, I'm a writer. I love writers. So for me, I always wanted to find a way to help writers and work with writers. So that was my starting point. And now I realize that writers become authors, and authors are entrepreneurs. And therefore, I would really rather be working not just with writers, but with entrepreneurs and people who are building a writing business or an author business, or any kind of business. But it definitely starts like that. And what I was saying, I don't want to miss what I was saying, but about physical products. So if you're already making physical products, that's perfect thing to start your business with. However, if you're not already doing that, then I don't recommend physical products being your first thing that you put out there, because it does take more time. You do have to invest more money in it, especially because you have to have something available before you can sell it. So I put, several hundreds of dollars into my t-shirt line before I actually launched it or made any sales. So if you are wanting to do physical products, that's totally fine, but just know up front that it's going to cost you more, because you have to actually pay somebody to make the product. If you're not making it yourself, you have to pay a designer, all that. So I actually went to a company that does t-shirts, and they have this really cool service. And actually, I'm going to do a video for you guys at some point about this to kind of show you how I created this t-shirt line and the service that I use and all of that. But just quickly, they basically have a full package where you just pay them monthly and they design your shirt for you. You basically work with them to design it. You know, they have a designer that you talk to and all of that stuff. But I don't think that in the very beginning I could have started off with my t-shirt line, because I, first of all, didn't even have, like, the idea for that felt so far away for me, even though I always wanted my own clothing line. But I was like, there's no way I can do that right now. And really back then I probably couldn't have, because services like what I have now didn't even exist. So now there's way more possibility in that. But if you're just starting out and you're looking to start your business and you want to get online, my recommendation is, again, thinking about what problems can you solve, who do you want to work with specifically, what problems can you solve for them, and then also just thinking about the industry that you want to be in. So whether it's working with writers or something else completely, is just really thinking about what are the problems in your industry, what are the gaps you could fill, and think about starting with a service, because a service is one of the fastest ways to get out there and start getting money flowing. And then you can always go into other things like workshops or trainings or digital products and stuff like that. So I started, like I said, with an ebook, and then I did a coaching program one-on-one, and then I started to do a workshop every year where I would do story planning workshop, and I would have 20, 30 people in it each time. I would help them plan their stories. And then after a few years of doing that, so 2012, I started launching additional workshops besides just the Nano one. And then I started to step into digital products where, like, you could just download a workshop and take it on your own, or a digital product where it's like, a toolkit of some kind. So I've made a lot of toolkits, like a revision kit, a story planning kit, and things like that. So those are really good ways to get stuff out there too. The reason I say start with a service, if you're brand new to this, if you haven't launched your business yet, is because a service is one of the easier things to sell, especially if you're selling something that you've done yourself that's been helpful for you. So like for me, when I started to sell the coaching program for Nano, story planning for Nano, it was based on the process that I had created for myself, trying to figure out how do I implement all of this stuff that I've learned about craft into my own story. And when I figured that out, I thought, well, now I need to help other people with this, because there really wasn't a process out there. Like, there was nobody out there being like, here's how you implement, here's how you actually take this knowledge and put it into your own story. So I thought, that's a gap I can fill and a problem I can solve. And so that was what I started with. And that's, again, that's why service is easy, because if you've already been through something yourself, you found a process or a way of doing it that works really well, and people out there have that problem, then offering the service is a great way to, again, start making money quickly and to help people, and then start getting testimonials, which then builds your business into something that's viable, sustainable, and legally speaking, actually is something you're allowed to do legally. So I hope this short video helped you. Well, it's not that short, I guess, but shorter video helped you guys get some ideas going on what you could do for your own business. If you are wanting to work with writers and authors and create a business doing that, then be sure to check out my upcoming workshop that's happening next Saturday, April, holy shit, April 21st. I have no idea what day it is, you guys. When you start working for yourself, you never know what day it is. This morning I posted on Instagram and said it was Tuesday. It's freaking Wednesday. So yeah, lovely. Anyway, if you want to join that workshop, check it out. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to launch your online business offering writing services to people. Doesn't have to be a writing service. It could be editing, proofreading. It could be design for books, cover design, layout. It could be formatting. You could offer services like coaching or beta reading. Lots of different ideas for you guys. So if you want to join that workshop, you can check it out at jenniferblanchard.net/writingbiz. And there are still 7 spots left for our top 10 bonus. There's a quick action bonus. If you sign up and pay in full and you do it within the first 10 people, then you get a bonus 30-minute session with me where we're actually going to talk about your own business, talk about different ways for you to get it off the ground and launch it, and anything else you have questions on. So go to jenniferblanchard.net/writingbiz to check that out, and I'll see you guys next time.